In a temple of jewels in Vrindavan, underneath a desire tree, Sri Radha Govinda, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances unto them. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakya Chakshumilitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, Hare Krishna. So, this is now about Radha Govinda, who are the Abhideya deities, and then we have Rupa Goswami as Abhideya and Abhideya Acharya, or Rasacharya, as is also known. So first we want to speak about this verse itself. So, Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadruma Adha. First line. In a temple of jewels, okay, the first word is Divyat, meaning shining. I don't know to what this belongs. The shining forest of Vrindavan. Kalpadruma is a desire tree. So it's a meditative verse where you can meditate about Vrindavan, most effulgent, beautiful forest of Vrindavan, full with beautiful trees, wonderful trees, which are very auspicious. Trees are auspicious when they have fruits, when they have flowers, when they smell, yeah. Which we, especially here, our trees are so-so. You know what we have, Nadelbäume, I don't know how to spell in English.
Cherries.
Huh?
Cherries.
Yeah, okay, this is an exception. But what is called Nadelbaum in English, actually? When they have the sticky things. The sticky thing tree. So, what's the use of them? Yeah? Okay, you can take this juice out of it and you make some whatever. Huh?
Pine tree.
Yeah, pine trees and all this. So, they are not so. Yeah, and what else we have? We have Deutsche Eiche, German oak, very hard wood, very good. But in Vrindavan, when we read in the scriptures, the trees are glorified. Of course, Vrindavan, it's a forest, and forest means there are trees. And a forest without trees, I think, is not a forest. So, trees are essential for being a forest. So, Vrindavan being Vrindavan is essentially having trees. It's what makes Vrindavan. So, it's a very scenery atmosphere in general, where Krishna performs his pastimes. It's a very scenery, beautiful, natural world, which is Krishna's favorite world, his highest world, the supreme reality, Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan. And whereas the city where he also lived, Mathura and Dwarka, it's different. And the mood is also very, very much different. So much so that actually Gaudiya Vaishnavas, for them, Dwarka is of no interest. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur goes so far and says, actually it's an hindrance to think about Krishna and Dwarka, to like the queens of Dwarka. In one sense, in one sense, it's an hindrance. It's something what should not be done, actually. He goes so far to say it should not be done if you practice Raganuga Bhakti. If you're on the path of pure Raganuga Bhakti, then only Krishna and Vrindavan. And Prabhupada is at times also outspoken like that and makes the point, only Krishna and Vrindavan. But Prabhupada is very broad also and includes many parts of the Leela, including Dwarka, including the avatars, because I guess, and we see this in the famous story of the Gopi Bhava Club, maybe some of you heard about it. In the 70s there was a group in Los Angeles and they called itself the Gopi Bhava Club, because they understood, which is also very much true, that the most important is to practice devotional service in the mood of the gopis. No doubt about that. And they came together kind of in a conspiracy way, and at night, I don't know if it was night, but in some hidden place, and they were reading Prabhupada's books, but only the parts about the gopis. And they made kind of somehow some rumor spread around, and it was kind of an exalted group, and they thought themselves very exalted to practice, in the mood of the gopis. What are the gopis thinking? I don't know what they in detail were doing, but it came to Prabhupada. And there was a complaint by the managers that this group is there in our community, and it came to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was not happy at all, and smashed the whole thing, and talked to the organizer of the whole thing. And the organizer said himself, but Prabhupada, we are reading only your books. It's not that we read some other Acharya's books or some non-authorized books or some. And Prabhupada said, no, still, you should not do this. In one sense, they are right. In one sense, it's perfectly right. But the problem is, when we are not on the right platform, and we make offenses against other devotees, like Gopas and Mother Yashoda and avatars, because we think, this is the highest, and this is the best, and the others is not so important. What Gopi, non-Gopi stuff? This is like Maya almost. Kurukshetra, oh, it's Maya. Mahabharata, oh, it's completely Maya. And there are lines or groups who are inside Vaishnavism, either bona fide or non-bona fide, most of them non-bona fide, who have this mood. Yeah? And they think this is the best and everything else not, and if I practice this, I'm also the best. So it's not so much the technique of being very exclusively devoted to a certain part of the Leela, especially when it's about the Gopis and Vrindavan. This is not the problem. The problem is if we are qualified for this and have still 100% appreciation for every devotee and every aspect of the Leela. It's not necessary that we have to have this as a goal, as a meditation, but still there should be appreciation. And if this is not there, what's the use of your superior meditation if you have a wrong attitude toward that what is not superior in one sense? So Prabhupada smashed the club immediately and said, no, stop this immediately, it's nonsense, we don't want this, because the trend goes into a misunderstanding. And I myself had once an encounter with a devotee who went a lot into Leela, completely into Leela, and once because I said to him, well, can we meditate about Rukmini and Krishna? I said, oh, this is not in our line, this is not good. And in one sense it's right, but if it's in wrong attitude, it's not right. And then I read the part of creation in Bhagavatam. He said, don't read this again, don't read this again. But in a kind of offensive way. And I saw, it can really lead to that. So Prabhupada is a pure devotee of Krishna and Vrindavan, knows perfectly well what's going on, and at the same time Prabhupada has appreciation for all other avatars. So this should not be misplaced. But it should come to the platform that we are very exclusively devoted to Krishna and Vrindavan. This is our goal. This is obvious. It's very obvious. And even being in the mood of the gopis, that's very obvious. But we have to be qualified for this too. So I don't know why I went into this. Yeah, so anyway, so Vrindavan, perfect scenery, natural surroundings, and the trees. And the wonderful trees, and in the Bhagavatam itself, actually trees are so often mentioned, especially in the heavenly planets. Also, it's always described how the heavenly planets look, or this ashram of this Muni, and there's sometimes a long line of trees mentioned, where we have no clue what kind of trees are this, all these Sanskrit names, or the trees from the heavenly planets. So what to speak about the trees in Vrindavan? What must that be? How they must look? How they must smell? Wonderful flowers. I only know Kadamba and I think Champa. Champa is also a tree, or is it a bush? I don't know. It's a tree? Champa tree. Because I know this from the puja. When we go to India, we buy always oil for the Shila puja. And this Champa oil smells very nice, and Kadamba oil also smells nice. So if this is the smell of the tree, how must the whole forest smell if it's full of such trees? Or Malati flowers, always said, Malati flowers. And so beautiful flowers, beautiful trees, and then the beautiful birds in Vrindavan, especially the parrots. And the parrots have a very important role, because parrots, they can speak. And in the Leela, they always speak also. And they argue also. And it's very cute. Actually, the parrots are very important because they wake up Radha and Krishna in the morning. In the morning, because Radha and Krishna, they are not sleeping at home, they sleep in the forest. They sleep in the bower, how's it said? In the kunja. And they are really sleeping after the whole night of pastime and completely absorbed in their beautiful sleep, and the acharyas very beautifully explain how they're lying and how their bodies look like a wonderful cloud, and Radharani looks like molten gold, and they're lying in a deep embrace and completely happy and ecstatic, closed eyes, and dreaming of each other and being completely absorbed in the transcendental sleep. And then the sun comes up, and this is a problem, because now because nobody knows that they are asleep in the forest. Normally, Radharani lives at home at the house of her husband, of Abhimanyu. And her mother-in-law is Chatila. And Chatila wants to engage her in household duties. She has to cook for Abhimanyu, and she has to clean, and she'll do all these things. So in the morning, if Chatila would come, she says, "Where's Radharani?" "Oh, I know it, she's somewhere with Krishna. I always hear rumors that she has a relationship with Krishna. Now I have the proof." So she cannot, she must be at home. And Krishna is the same, he should be at home, and Mother Yashoda wants to wake him up and get him something to eat and everything. So this is urgent, it's very urgent now, but they don't want to get up, because they're sleeping so nicely. And it's so beautiful. Also, in Krishna book it said, when in the morning in Dwarka, the crow, how do you call it? Kran? Nicht Kran. Wie heißen die Dinger? Hahn? Hahn? Wie heißt Hahn?
Pigeon.
No, Hahn. What's it in English?
Chicken.
Huh? A chicken. No. I think cock. Cock. Yeah, cock. When it makes yes? So, this is what they do. In Dwarka they have this too. It's a natural clock. It's a natural clock. When the sun comes up, it's a dawn, they do that. Natural clock. So when this happens, and the queens of Dwarka, they lie with Krishna in the wonderful bed, in a beautiful palace, and the bed is said, it's white like milk, and it's soft and beautiful, and they lie with Krishna there, and so nice for them. And then, and they say, no, no, because Krishna is very strict. Oh, it's time to get up. I have to do morning duties. And sorry, my dear, I have to go. And so they curse the cock. Stupid animal. Stop this. Take my Krishna away. So in the same way, but in Vrindavan it's different. When Radha and Krishna wake up, none of them wants to go up. Krishna doesn't want to go, I have to do my morning duties, this and that. No, I want to stay here with you. And Radharani saying, I want to stay here with you. Because they have pure love. Purest love. And the parrots doing this job. And they say, oh, Radharani, you have to get up. It's early in the morning and quickly run home. And what if your mother-in-law, she's not seeing you, she will have big trouble. Quickly get up. And the other parrot says, oh, Krishna, get up. And in a very beautiful way, the morning pastime begins. Very scenic, very beautiful, very transcendentally romantic, very absorbing. And on the word romantic, we can only appreciate this if we are sufficiently purified from lust. This is why Radha Madhava Mohan is so important. Because if we are not sufficiently purified from lust, this will remind us, and how would I deal in this situation? Why can I not sleep with a beautiful girl? Why not beautiful parrots waking me up in the morning? Why Krishna? Or we think of the pastime of Radha Krishna as being material, and we can never enter into the rasa and the mellow of the pastime. But the pastime, the mellow of this pastime is very, very strong, very intense, very absorbing, and it's our saving grace. Because if we get into the mood, it's very easy to become free from any material desires, because it's a much better taste than anything else. Yeah? So it's not only, of course, the shravan or the meditation, the hearing about the pastime, it's also devotional service and chanting, and all that what we do should actually replace our taste for material enjoyment. So Divyat, Vrindaranya, Kalpadrumada. So these are all desire trees, and Vrindavan is full of desire trees. It's the most beautiful world you can imagine, and this is Krishna's world, in which he performs his most beautiful and sweet and engaging and inspiring pastimes. So then in the morning they get up, they have to separate themselves, and they say, oh, it's late. They don't have a watch, of course. They say, oh, it's late, and they dress themselves quickly. And sometimes it's said Radharani dresses with Krishna's world. So it is very auspicious and very, because Radharani is most dear to Krishna. And Lalita is the most important of the gopis. And her group is very, very close. No? So, and Rupa Manjari Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari is like the head of their servants. So we enter into this service. And this is interesting because Prabhupada in the beginning of Nectar of Instruction says we are all Rupa Nugas. We are followers of Rupa Goswami. So that means externally we follow his teachings, and internally we also follow his meditation, his seva in the spiritual world. So we are followers of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Nuga means also we are followers of Rupa Manjari. And this will become realized by the devotee when he advances more and more. And this should be connected also with a desire to enter into this seva. And then it will go very quickly how a devotee transforms and becomes situated in this part of the spiritual reality, eternal situation. Yeah? So it should be a connection between understanding and also deep appreciation, desire for this seva. So this is a bit about the esoteric part, well, only a little bit. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Any questions? Yes.
In the beginning, my mind became triggered when you said that we should aspire to become, to enter the Madhurya Rasa.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking that Prabhupada once was asked, will we, what was that? Change our rasa or something, and Prabhupada said, no matter which rasa you have, when it naturally unfolds, you will be satisfied. So, and then in the end you gave his explanation that we are followers of Rupa Goswami.
As I said, it's a long discussion, and I think any devotee who wants to know more should research and find out himself. There are some devotees who proclaim this or that, and go on to preaching this and that, but in one sense, find out yourself, make up your mind. But I would say like this, Prabhupada says these things will be revealed, so we should not enforce them. Yeah, we should not put this artificial on us, definitely. But revelation means also that you have, revelation is not just, oh now I know what I am. No, revelation means also to have a stronger and deeper desire of what you really want. And you understand that your desire plays a major role in the development of your spiritual relationship, and is a major part of how to advance. And there is, because some say cultivation, some say revelation. These are like the two poles of the whole discussion. But I would say these are both there. Prabhupada says you have to cultivate bhakti. So what? Oh, I have to cultivate? I thought it got revealed. Why should I cultivate? No, of course you have to cultivate. But there's also a revelation involved where Krishna shows you how to properly cultivate your relationship to him. So we shouldn't be too naive in that. Huh? Shouldn't be naive in that. And in that sense, we got this present of a spiritual process, and we should use it properly. And then our spiritual mood. And the interesting point is also, we always think about Svarup, my Svarup and my relationship to Krishna. And in one sense, I would say, and because it's a big topic, everyone can throw his bits and pieces inside. So mine is, it's not about developing your Svarup. It's not about developing your relationship to Krishna. It's about to develop the mellow of your seva. And in one sense, your love. And after this follows the Svarup. The Svarup is kind of, for me, I think about it, it's like a manifestation of my love to Krishna. Yeah, it's not about the form of the Gopi, it's about the mood of devotion the Gopi has towards Krishna. And this is then, so to say, facilitated or manifested also in the form. Because in the spiritual world, the form is not different from the inner. Yeah? Krishna's mind and Krishna himself is the same. There's no separation. But what is important is that we develop the mood and the love and the mellow. So this is what we should develop this is Gopi Bhava, that we develop the same mood which the Gopis have towards Krishna. When you think, oh, I develop Gopi Bhava, this shouldn't be, oh, I develop my Gopi body and dressed in the sari and this and that. This is what follows afterwards, but we should follow in the mood, have to understand what is the mood of the Gopis towards Krishna, or the Manjaris. And the mood of the manjaris towards Krishna or Radha Krishna is to facilitate their lila and have appreciation of their love they exchange. Yeah? So when we develop this appreciation of the love Radha and Krishna exchange, which is then played out in all these beautiful pastimes, we develop the mood of the manjari. And we transform our mood and not now our body or something. Yeah? We don't have to think now about ourselves as small girls or something. No, it's the mood. And then later on, the form will follow. So this is my, how to say, latest understanding of this thing, and which is very practical. Because then it's not going into some scandalous, esoteric, weird thing. Because this, what we do here is follow in the mood of the gopis, do the seva in this mood, selfless, full of devotion, with the prayojan of Radha Krishna. We chant Hare Krishna in this understanding. We want to see Radha and Krishna enjoy together, and not I want to enjoy Krishna or Radharani or something like this. We facilitate their enjoyment, and this is what the manjaris do. And then of course, if you cultivate this your whole life, you enter into a reality where this is played out. And where is this played out? In Vrindavan, in a secretive way, because Radha and Krishna is a secret, and you enter into this secret and follow just the same what you do right now. This is what we do all the time. So it's not artificial and somehow, imposed. It's very natural. That's what I think. Yeah? Okay. Well, do you want to say something to this, or you have a different topic? Different, okay.
In relation to this, the gopis, those manjaris, they are simply interested in the exchange of Radha and Krishna.
Yes.
So, and I'm thinking that is it a completely different situation in their state of existence, or is it still a relevant question that who are they taking shelter of? Because in our conditioned state we are told to take shelter of Krishna and to pray to Krishna.
Yeah, of course.
It seems very selfish. As soon as we start to consider that Krishna is concerned with another person, which is Srimati Radharani, so my role is not to approach him directly so much, but to serve in the background. I'm wondering.
This is such a big topic, and I could say so much about that, but basically, in the beginning, we have different motivations than later on. Whatever motivation we have in the beginning for serving Krishna is perfect, is wonderful. And with time, this all gets cleared and purified and revealed and all that. It follows naturally. And this is what Prabhupada says in Introduction to Nectar of Instruction. Huh? He says that if you live like this in Sattva Guna, all further spiritual advancement will follow automatically. Almost he says like this. It will follow. Krishna will help and inspire. So in the beginning it's like Krishna, yeah? We have kind of an broad understanding, but with time it gets more and more intricate and detailed and different. What is the word? Anyways, yeah, it gets more detailed and clear, more specific and clear, right? So we don't have to worry about this. Whatever now your motivation is, work on this, make it more pure, and becomes more and more clear how it all works out actually. And how this, what is actually Prabhupada meaning, and a deeper meaning of that. It flows naturally. Which doesn't mean it comes automatically. It's naturally, we have to work on it. Yeah? It's not, then I eat the whole day ladus and I become a gopi. Yeah? I eat all the ladus and then become a manjari. Perfect. No? Yeah, we have to work on it also. Anyway, I could say so much, but time is really over. So, during time?
I was talking about this Gopi Baba Club, because sometimes Teufel liegt im Detail.
Yeah.
So sometimes these details around why Srila Prabhupada said something, how why Srila Prabhupada acted in a certain way is very important to understand the whole context. Because there are so many things, where we draw false conclusions, and the whole is narrative around some stories, and then the story didn't happen like that actually. There's so much more into the story. So I'm just wondering, I cannot recollect all the things, but I think that the devotees involved in this Gopi Baba Club will not strict devotees, they will not really strictly follow it. Can you
Very interesting point. I know only one aspect of the story, which is interesting. This is very I don't know, is the recording still running?
Yes.
Can you turn it off? Yeah, mine's is... No, but it's an interesting detail. In the murder case of Sulochan, the guy who killed Sulochan was a very good friend of the organizer of the Gopi Bhava Club. And when this came out, he was there too. The killer was there too. And he was also interested in all that. And he was taking drugs and all that. He was smoking pot and whatever. He killed a guy, you know. Oh no, sorry, I mixed it up. He was the guy who got killed. Sulochan, who got killed, he was involved in this situation, not the killer. Sulochan got killed by... He was part of Gopi Bhava Club, but he took drugs and he was crazy. He wanted to kill Ananda, and it's a whole story, right? Big story. But he was a good friend of the organizer of Gopi Bhava Club. So at least he took drugs, right? So he was part of it. And when it came to Prabhupada, this person who organized the whole thing was smashed by Prabhupada heavily. And in the situation, he was like, okay. But later on, he said he was not accepting what Prabhupada said at all. And he left and he went to Vrindavan and searched something else. So that shows their sincerity, definitely. Yeah, so you're right. And my point, I think I made it clear also, was not against exclusive studying, all that. It was more the whole mood of it. And what you added is also true, yeah, that they were not real strict devotees. And you can see Prabhupada said to him, don't do it, and it doesn't accept it and does something else. Plus, weird devotees who are involved in the weirdest part of ISKCON's history were also involved. So, yeah, probably it was not so bona fide. Anyway, I wanted to turn it off because who knows what else I would have said now, but I don't say anything more. This is too...
Yeah, I could remember that there was some drugs involved.
Yeah. Sulochan, he was smoking all the time. And other things, drinking.
I think that they made joints before reading these parts.
Yeah. These were all hippies, right? They were whatever they did before, and many of them, like, who was it? Chayatirtha. When Chayatirtha was one of the associates of Timothy Leary. Timothy Leary, the LSD guru, right? And when he became Acharya, he was one of the 11 Acharyas, and he realized, he was very honest, in one point he realized, I'm not a pure devotee, I don't have love for Krishna. He realized this. How can I be now Acharya? Because they thought, now we are Acharyas, now we're the enlightened. And he helped his realization, ecstasy a bit, and he started taking LSD again. And then, now I see Radharani and everything, so now it works. And he made kirtans for hours and hours and hours, and everyone was, wow, what's going on there? And then, of course, his story is also interesting. Yeah, so they had this background. Anyways, a long thing. Okay, thank you so much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Brahmanande. Srila Prabhupada ki. The cloth and Krishna with Radharani's clothes. Because they're so quick, we have to run. I don't know if they changed them again, but then they run home and the pastime continues. So, in a temple, in this verse we hear, in a temple of jewels, we have the temple, it's the word Ratna Agara. Ratna means jewels and Agara is the temple. So it's a beautiful, beautiful temple of jewels. And in this beautiful temple of jewels, underneath the desire trees of Vrindavan, is a Singha Asana, and seat, and lion seat, a throne. Singha Asana is a throne, a beautiful throne, probably also built out of jewels. And on this, Radha and Govinda are situated and served Breshta Alipi Sevya Manao. Breshta Alipi means by their associates, by their most confidential associates. They are serving the divine couple in this beautiful scenery. Most of the time, these are certain gopas. Not all the gopas are engaged in the service to Radha Krishna. Certain gopas and the gopis and manjaris. Most confidential associates, those who have this certain love and appreciation for Radha Krishna. They have the appreciation for the love between Radha and Krishna. And they know we do everything to enhance this pastime, that Radha and Krishna can be completely absorbed in their love, completely absorbed in their own love. And so it's very beautiful, it's very aesthetic, it's the perfect aesthetic, the most beautiful thing in the whole reality, which is our goal. Yeah. So this was the verse, nice meditation. And now about Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is the... yesterday we heard a lot about Sanatana Goswami, of course, but Rupa Goswami is connected with this. Of course, he's the brother, the second brother of the three, of Sanatan and then Anupama. And he was born in, if I remember right, it was 1489. Yeah? Mahaprabhu was born 1486, Sanatan Goswami 1488, and Rupa Goswami 1489. So they are all kind of in the same age. So already interesting point. And he lived until 1564. 1564. So how old he became? 64 plus 11, so 75 years old. He was in the end. So he left after Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami left in 1558. 1558. Yeah. And he left at 1564. Rupa Goswami is, of course, he grew up with his brothers, and the same, he was also later on in the government of Nabapur Sen Shah, and he became free earlier on. And one important point we have to know is that he was writing already books before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him. Especially two books which we still have. I don't know if there are more, he wrote more, but at least this is there. One is called Uddhava Sandesh, and the other is called Hamsaduta, which are very small works. They are not elaborate, kind of small works. And also prayers in a pastime situation, discussion. Singale Bhagavan Ki. Rupa Goswami got instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Prayag. Yeah. If you heard yesterday, Sanatana Goswami got instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi, Benares. But before that, Rupa Goswami got instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and was sent also to Vrindavan to write what he heard. So in that sense, we can see how important Rupa and Sanatan were, because they formulated the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All that what we know more or less about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, when you speak about his philosophy, is because of those two. They had to write it down, and they wrote it down. So Rupa Goswami was then in Vrindavan, but then left again with Anupama to Puri. He really wanted to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but this was also the travels where he, must be, I think it must be, when he had the vision of Satyabhama in Satyabhama Pur. Last time when I spoke about Rupa Goswami, I told this story. Because it's very important that we know that he was writing, he was always writing, right? He was always writing. This was his, his seva, always. And he wanted to write a drama about Krishna. And then he came and he was already starting this, so he had already a bit of text, like the Mangala Charan, which we heard a couple of days ago. I gave the lecture on the verse Anarpita Charim Chirat Karuna Vatirna Kalau, when may the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Madhashachi, be situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. And he came in this Kali Yuga to bestow what no other incarnation has ever offered before, the pure, splendid, shining Unnatochvala Rasa. a certain rasa. He's not just giving, it's interesting that in this verse it's not said a technique or yoga or knowledge. No, he gave a rasa, experience, a spiritual experience of his swabhakti, of his own bhakti. Yeah, so he gave this whole loving devotion towards Krishna and Vrindavan, more or less. This is what it means. And in the mood of the gopis, of Radharani. So this is what he gave. So this verse is the opening verse of the Vidakta Madhava. So this verse he was already writing. He composed this already, and kind of an outline of this drama, which should be Krishna's Leela in a very beautiful language, a very nicely presented, very nice meditation, very nice text itself, very aesthetic. So he was on the way from Vrindavan to Puri and was very close to Puri and stayed overnight in a place called Satyabhamapur. And at night he had a dream in which appeared a demigoddess or a goddess, shining and beautiful and aristocratic. And he was amazed in this, seeing her. And she said, "Oh, I know that you are writing a drama about Krishna, but I want that you also write a drama about me. You have to write also a drama about me." And Rupa Goswami woke up and was astonished and wondered who was this, and realized it was Satyabhama herself. Satyabhama is the second queen of Krishna in Dwarka. Second after Rukmini. But actually Krishna married Jambavati before. First he married Rukmini, then Jambavati, and then Satyabhama. But Satyabhama is always said to be like the second most important queen in Vrindavan, in Dwarka. So she said, "Write a drama about me." So Rupa Goswami was amazed. Why should I write a drama about Satyabhama? And he understood, okay, I have to split my text into two parts. One about Krishna in Vrindavan and one about Krishna in Dwaraka. So one was called Vidakta Madhava, is called Vidakta Madhava, and the other is called Lalita Madhava. Then he came to Jagannath Puri and he stayed in the Siddhabakula place, also where Sanatana Goswami stayed. It was the place of Haridas Thakur. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu came every day to see Haridas Thakur, and so he also came and saw Rupa Goswami, who was writing. And then, I told it last time anyways, but still it's a very nice scene. We have to imagine Caitanya Mahaprabhu comes with his closest associates. It was even Nityananda was there, Advaitacharya was there, and all his servants, like, what are the names? Like, yeah, Govinda and Mukunda, yeah, and Jagadananda, and all these very close associates. So they came in this situation to visit Haridas Thakur, was very humble and very grateful, and Rupa Goswami was there. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy. "Oh, Rupa, you are here now in Puri, nice." And he introduced them, because because these associates, they were from Navadvip. They were kind of from a different scene. When Mahaprabhu left Navadvip and went to Puri, these devotees stayed there. They grew up with Mahaprabhu, they knew him very well, but they always visited in Puri. But it's like a different crowd than in Puri, or than Rupa and Sanatan, who came from some different area. Like the other Goswamis also. Like Raghunath Das Goswami, he was not from Navadvip, or Gopal Bhatta Goswami and all of them. They kind of united in Puri, they came to Puri. So he introduced them. "Oh, this is Rupa, a wonderful devotee," and then it came out that he's writing a book. And the devotees were very eager. "What are you writing?" They were not, writing a book. And, "No, what are you, really, you're writing a book, what is it?" It's very important to know that great personalities, when they write, it's very, very significant. And then his text got introduced to this wonderful assembly. Nityananda, Advaita, all of them were, Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, all of them were there. And everyone was, "Wow, what are you writing?" And so his text got introduced, and this verse, Mangala Charan, was read, which is also it's a prayer. Mangala Charan means like auspicious introductory words, where you have to also take shelter in your Ishtadev, to whom this text is more or less dedicated, or who is your most important form of Krishna, and this person is glorified. And in this verse, of course, Caitanya Mahaprabhu is glorified. And when this verse was read, Mahaprabhu said immediately, "This is terrible. this is not right. And I think he said something like, you compose so nicely, like sweet rice, but then you put salt inside or something. Huh? Huh? Liquor? Okay, something like this, huh? You composed so nicely these wonderful words, but then you destroyed it with glorifying me. And then they will say, no, it's sweet rice with camphor. It's wonderful, it's perfect. And everyone was happy hearing that. Anyway, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's in the Antya Lila. It goes into a nice description, who said what and who wanted to know what. It's very deep Vaishnava exchange we can see there. So Rupa Goswami later on had to go to Vrindavan and started to build the temple of Radha Govinda. And it was like this. Mahaprabhu sent him to Vrindavan to start this mission now. Now it's over. Okay, you had enough of my association. You got instructed. You were in Puri. Now please go to Vrindavan and do it. Write the books. Mahaprabhu's mission was to excavate Vrindavan. Bring Vrindavan to its old glory. Yeah. So it's a big, big mission. So Rupa Goswami was sitting there at, what was it? I think at the Yamuna or at Govardhan Hill or somewhere. And he was puzzled. How should I do this now? Like Prabhupada when he came to the West. Okay, how should I do this now? I have a big mission, but I'm standing here. So how should I do it now? So Rupa Goswami also was wondering, how should it happen? And actually, 2 devotees were already there, whom Mahaprabhu sent there. It was Bhugarbha Goswami and Lokanath Goswami. They were actually, I don't know when they came, but they were already there. But they were not somehow doing too much or something. They were actually Bhugarbha Goswami. His name comes because he was chanting all day long. And in Vrindavan, it's very hot. It's very hot. Yeah. Govardhan also, it's said it's one of the hottest places in the world. It's said. But it's really hot. It can get until 50 degrees or something. In real summer, 50 degrees or more. Sometimes even said it got 60 degrees hot. I don't know if it's true like that, but it's very, 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 very hot. Govardhan is already close to Rajasthan. Actually, when you come to the end of Govardhan, you're already in Rajasthan. And there starts I don't know if it starts there, but somewhere the desert of the Rajasthan. It's a real desert. So it's hot like anything. In the summertime in Vrindavan, everything closes. Even the shops, even Loy Bazaar closes in summertime. They all leave Vrindavan. It's too hot, they go to the Himalayas. Even the merchant, even Loy Bazaar, even they want to make money, saying, okay, it's enough, we leave Vrindavan. It's very, very hot. So if you stay all the time in Vrindavan, you have to know how to keep yourself cool. So Bhugarbha, Garbha means the womb, and womb means of the earth, because he dug some hole in the ground and was sitting in the hole in the ground, was chanting there because it's cool. So this means Bhugarbha. That's the reason why they called him Bhugarbha Goswami, the one who's staying in the earth and chanting. And also when you visit Vrindavan, the Shyama Sundar temple, where Shyamananda Pandit's temple is, you can ask to see the bhajan kutir of him, and you have to go, and it's behind the temple, and then they open the door and it goes like a steps down. Have you been there? Have you seen it? Someone has not seen it? And go down, and this is then the bhajan kutir. It's a couple of meters down in the earth of Shyamananda. And I think there was a deity of Shyamananda and Rasikananda inside. They were chanting there. It's very, very interesting. And also in Govindadev temple. Last time when I was with Alexei there, we went to Govindadev temple to make a video and show everything. At the same time, there was a parigram group led by, who was it? I think it was Bhaktirasamrita Swami. One Swami was by accident also there with a group of devotees. And then we joined and we heard what he had to say. And then they opened. No, it was not. It was. What's the name of the small Swami from Asia who was kind of temple commander in Vrindavan, who read this course every day? Janardhan Maharaj, yeah, Janardhan Maharaj. He was there, exactly. And he lives in Vrindavan since a long time. Yeah, he lives a long time in Vrindavan. And then the managers of the temple, they said, okay, come, and when you go outside from the temple, the side, and then there are steps up, and there is, we'll go down to I think it was also Bhajan Kutir, of Rupa Goswami, and there is a deity of Purnamasya, I think, down there, or Yogamaya, or something like this. And it also goes down, 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 down. It's very narrow and very cool, very mystic place. And Chanarda Maharaj himself said, I'm living since so many years in Vrindavan, I've never been there. It's the first time that they opened this for me. A very nice place. And also we could go in the altar, on the altar. They opened also the altar of Radha Govinda from the backside, and we could see big Shilas and everything. Well, it was very nice. So it's interesting how they dug holes, because it's cool there, and they were chanting there. This is what they used for chanting and writing. So Bhugarba and Lokanath Maharaj, they were already, Lokanath Goswami, they were already in Vrindavan. So Rupa Goswami, he was still lamenting, how should I do this? I got a huge instruction by Caitanya Mahaprabhu to write all his philosophy and spread this knowledge and build temples, build Vrindavan. And he was lamenting, and at that time, a small cowherd boy came and told him, don't worry, you will figure it out, and actually, you will get your deity. It's not far from here, under this hill, because when the Muslims came, the villagers, they buried the deity. So there's a deity of Krishna underneath this hill. And every day a cow comes and passes her milk on this hill so that the deity gets something to eat. So get this deity and build a temple. And Rupa Goswami went there, and he was very skeptical. He's like, oh, really? And he waited until the cow comes. And he waited and waited and waited and waited. And of course, the cow comes and somehow puts her milk on this hill. And so you know, oh, there's really something going on. And with some villagers, they dug the place and found a beautiful deity of Govinda. This is how the Govinda deity was found. And this is also one of the deities which was established by Vajra, by the great-grandson of Krishna. Yesterday, I don't know if you were there, is Vajra the son of Pradyumna, Aniruddha? Does someone know? Because this always said Vajra installed all the deities after Krishna left. And it's the great-grandson, so always understood from Rukmini, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and then Vajra. No. Oh, okay. We can find out. So he found the deity of Govinda Dev. And at that time, there was an emperor who ruled the whole area. His name was Akbar. And Akbar was, of course, a Muslim ruler, but he was super tolerant and open for other religion. He was very saintly himself, a very strict Muslim, but he appreciated all kinds of religions. And he heard also from other traditions, and especially from great sages. And somehow or other he had a connection with Rupa Goswami. I think he heard about Rupa Goswami's glory, invited Rupa Goswami to his court, and Rupa Goswami spoke about Krishna. And Akbar was so amazed to hear about pure bhakti and love of Godhead, and said, I will support you. And under his patronage, the Govinda Dev temple was built in Vrindavan. And later on, Man Singh, I think he was from Jaipur, the king of Jaipur, also donated huge amount of actually sandstone, because the temple is made of sandstone. And so a grand temple was built for Govinda Dev in Vrindavan. And it said I think it had 7 stories high. So it was huge and very intricate. It said this is one of the most intricate and beautiful buildings in the whole of North India, especially when it was built. It was an amazing temple. And when you go there now, you see only like 1 story. And this is already quite big. The temple is really, really big. But before it was 7 stories high. Cannot imagine how big it was actually. And very beautiful carved. All the sandstone, very small patterns inside, and beautifully made. And inside the temple hall is really high, really big. On the ceiling everywhere is this carving, and this the columns, and the big. Here you have been there, on a big temple hall, Govinda Dev temple. Yeah. And so the story goes like this: that Govinda Dev was worshipped in a huge way, a grand style. There it was Rupa Goswami's temple, built under the patronage of this great king, and all that. And many years later, of course, yesterday I said in 1670. So way after Rupa Goswami left, way after Mahaprabhu left, 1670, Aurangzeb, who was the successor of Akbar, I think he was Either there was one between Akbar and Aurangzeb or it was directly. But quite after the rulership of Akbar, who was very tolerant and under whom Vrindavan flourished. This is also interesting that the Goswamis could build Vrindavan, especially because Akbar was the ruler who allowed all that, who was a Muslim. But he allowed that and he even supported it, which helped to fulfill the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? It's very important what is the political situation, because they are, have influence. So many years later, like 100 years later, there was the opposite. A different ruler, his name was Aurangzeb, who hated anything non-Muslim. He hated it. And in 1670, he went so far to make a declaration to destroy all the temples and all the deities. Before this, he sometimes made some trouble, so to say. But in 1670, there was like an official declaration, law, kind of a law. We don't want this anymore. And his soldiers went around and destroyed temples, deities, killed brahmanas. It was terrible. Really, really terrible. You cannot even imagine. It's like complete, religious suppression. And one incident was especially triggering for him because he was staying in Agra, as far as I heard. In Agra, which is actually quite far away. Agra is far away from Vrindavan. It's like, I don't know how many kilometers, 50, 100 or something? 80. So, but it said, so I don't know, maybe it was in Mathura. I cannot imagine it was Agra. But anyway, he was in his palace and he saw far away, he saw a big light, a big fire, which was way above his palace. And he asked, what is this fire? What is this light? He said, this is the lightning, the fire on top of the Govindadev temple. And he was triggered, he was outraged. He says, how can it be? How can there be a place, a temple, any building higher than my palace? How can something be above me? Immediately go there and destroy this temple. Make it small. And this is what they did. They took all the stories away because it said it has 7 stories. And they couldn't destroy it completely because it was such a big building. If you go there, as I said, it's a big building. But they took like 5, 6 stories away and now you have only... Anyway, here's a building, a picture. Only from the side. This is the Govindadev temple. And most of you have been there. No, have seen it. So, but the devotees knew that he will do, this is Radha Govinda. These are the original deities of Rupa Goswami, this deity whom we found. He was worshipped in this temple. But the devotees knew, now come the soldiers, and they took the deity away and brought the deity to Jaipur, where he is still worshipped until today. Yeah. Because Jaipur, as I said yesterday, was a neighboring kingdom, Hindu kingdom of a very powerful ruler, and there Aurangzeb could not enter. He could not enter. So, this is important to know, yes. And the other thing, of course, what was Rupa Goswami writing? He was writing many scriptures, many texts, of which Srila Prabhupada himself translated 2. So we can see how important this is. Upadeshamrita, of course, nectar of instruction, 11 verses on what is bhakti, what is important, what is most important. I wanted to speak on this in a bit, but it's too much. And of course, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Prabhupada translated as nectar of devotion, which gives the science of bhakti. That's how Prabhupada called it, the science of bhakti. And it's a science. It's very systematic. And when we understand this and practice this, our bhakti will develop very nicely. The instructions are there, given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in, as I said, in Prayag. And we have a summary of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's very interesting because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote this dialogue between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami, where he got the knowledge about Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, more or less. But this was written after Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu was compiled. So actually it's an event which should be before, but afterwards compiled. And actually, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami uses the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu to illustrate or write this event, which was actually before, but written afterwards. So, and he wrote also a second part to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is called Ujjvala Nilamani, what is it? Shining blue sapphire. No? Ujjvala Nilamani means jewel. But it's not a sapphire?
Yeah, Nila means blue.
Blue, okay. So the splendid, shining blue jewel. Yeah? Yeah. And this is also a very big text, which focuses only on Madhurya Rasa. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gives an overview and systematically presents Bhakti and all the rasas, or ratis actually. And then in Ujjvala Nilamani focus completely on mellow of Madhurya Rasa. And he wrote also many other books. So he was very important. And it said he understood the mind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we are all his followers, Rupa Nugas. So he's our most important acharya. And in the end, what I wanted to mention, something came to my mind. Yeah, no, that's about it.
Summary.
Hmm?
You were speaking about summary.
Yeah, I think that's it. Of course, much can be said about him. Of course, yeah, he has a spiritual identity also. It's Rupa Manjari. Yesterday I said Sanatana Gosvami, his name is, in his spiritual identity is Labanga Manjari or Rati Manjari, and he is the Manjari of Indulekha. And Rupa Goswami is the Manjari of Lalita. And Lalita is the leader of the gopis. So we are in this, it's that Yuta. Yeah? Yuta means like group of Lalita, a group of gopis. So when we are connected to Srila Prabhupada, who is connected in the end actually to Rupa Manjari, so this will be our place of destination, our place of worship also in the spiritual world. Yeah? Through initiation and through practice, through connection. Initiation is Diksha, Divya Gyan, spiritual knowledge. We get initiated into this spiritual knowledge. This will be also our destination. Of course, there's a long discussion how it works and if it's like this or it's other way around. But there are many devotees who understand like this. That if you follow in the footsteps of a certain devotee who has a certain mood, you develop the same mood of your spiritual form. And then we enter into this part of the spiritual